with people who are first-time home buyers, they forget that they can like make it their own.
For sure.
So they come in and they see other people's furniture and they're like, oh, this isn't really how I would want to live. And it's like, you have to remind them, you're like, don't have to live like this.
So I think one really big thing I always tell clients is to make a good impression in front of the listing agent, because they also kind of use that if it's a multiple offer situation. They use the judge of character as far as how serious they think they were and how much they liked it.
Yeah, and how much they like got along with the client. Like, I've had people be like, oh, your client's so sweet.
Like I've had people tell me like yours was actually a few thousand less, but yours just seemed more serious. I met them, got a good feeling.
And then this one's a little off topic and random, but shoes. Because a lot of times, like in these vacant units, you have to take your shoes off. And when you wear like high boots or ones with a lot of laces on it, it's like an awkward elevator silence.
For sure.
Where you're standing there on one leg.
You're like bent over.
Yeah, and you're awkwardly trying to get your shoes on and off. The worst is when people wear slides and just like walk their bare feet.
If you're on a tour and you have 20 minutes to get to your next showing and 5 minutes is you putting your shoe on, you're messing up your whole day.
The whole vibe is off.
Buyers usually find that out pretty fast, but if this helps, great. Another huge factor, I think, is just like to hold your criticism until we leave.
Yes.
Like wait till we're in a safe space, you, me, no listing agent, and then we can talk about what you didn't like. But while you're there.
Yeah, you love the seller's secret hidden cameras.
Exactly. Just don't want to make a bad impression.
Oh yeah, you don't want to seem disrespectful, because if they do want to buy that, then they're going to see that you just like roasted.
Right. And sometimes it's just a paint color or something that needs to be switched out.
Right. But then you make them feel not so good. I also have noticed on showings, a lot of clients are so overwhelmed with the home buying process. They see things that are so cosmetic and it like starts to freak them out. You can change the paint color. You can change the finishes. You could change the cabinets if you want. Like these are just very small things that people get stuck on.
Right.
So I think us helping them turn these negatives into a positive is also really helpful.
For sure. I have clients that I work with that it's really hard for them to imagine what the space looks like without furniture or like built-ins, like things you can add on over time once you're in there. So I think sometimes showing them before and afters of places just to help, because we're used to it of like going into so many places and we see what you can do. Not everybody's like that, but just to remind them that like all places were a blank slate at one point.
I get this a lot with people who are first-time home buyers. They forget that they can like make it their own.
For sure.
So they come in and they see other people's furniture and they're like, oh, this isn't really how I would want to live. And it's like, you have to remind them, you're like, don't have to live
or
like
you
this.
send them
You
like
can
an off
choose.
market and you're like, it's like an old listing that was like years ago and the furniture is just like garbage. No one took care of it.
Yeah.
And then you see the new listing, you're like, this is beautiful. They're like
stunning.
But before they're like, why did you send this to me?
And it's just like helping them, like you said, get in touch with their imagination
For sure.
to really envision themselves, how they're going to live there is huge.
I think sometimes when you go to a showing, like if it's a last minute or you're really like condensing schedules to get in, keep in mind that it might not be show ready as much as you want it to be. Have you had an experience with that?
Oh yeah. And do you ever find the listings where there's animals that you weren't expecting?
Yep.
One time I walked into this showing and this 90-pound dog just comes running down the stairs. And my clients were like, oh my God. But like, I had no idea this dog was gonna be there.
I had an experience like that. I wouldn't even go in the bedroom because it was so scary. Sometimes just keeping your...
Stay on your toes.
Yeah.
And if you're ready to go on some showings, give us a call.